And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the PondCast episode 71, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm, of course, VIP. With you, I'm joined by, of course, the people in the chat, by the production team as well. Shout out to Kura. Shout out to Kura handling all the production. And of course, we have plenty of news to jump into. Again, every single week we do host the podcast. And this week was very special because if you've been under a rock, if you haven't been watching StarCraft over the past few days, again, it's only been a couple of days, the new map pool is live. We spoke about the TLMC contest concluding not too long ago. And now we are looking to construct, or we have since constructed, the entirety of the new map pool. First things first here is the conclusion of the TLMC. Again, we did conclude last week, the day after the podcast, as always. Shaking my head. But yes, the TLMC21 map contest did conclude. We were aware that a couple of days later the map pool would go live, and we have the results coming in. From the top 16 maps, we did have our top five placing maps. First place, we had Mothership. Mothership was the 3-player spawn map. This, honestly, in my opinion, was a given. It was going to be a sure thing that the 3-player spawn map would make it through. Fun fact, Last Fantasy also got first place. Mothership likewise gets first place as well. No surprises there. Second place, Celestial Enclave. If you recall, this was like the macro map. I want to say like this is the best rated map amongst all the judges in TLMC, if you recall. I think this was number 1 and received the highest praise from all judges all around. So it did come in second place here. Is more of a macro map. And then we had 10,000 feet third place by the same creator of Mothership. 10,000 feet is more of an aggressive map, more of a rush map instead. So some nice variety here when it comes to the top 3, followed by Talisman as 4th place and Winter Madness as 5th place. So we had our top 5. Again, community voting did conclude. And what does this mean? So from here, obviously the top 5, so obviously the top placing maps and the top placing map makers do earn prize money for their work, for their efforts, for bringing all these together and for making it as far as they did. Likewise, the top 3 maps are confirmed to be a part of the new ladder map pool. So once this was revealed, we already knew 100% that Mothership, Celestial Enclave, and 10,000 feet would be a part of the map pool. But how would the rest of the map pool be constructed? Well, we were still a little bit in the dark. We still weren't fully aware of how that would conclude. Something that we did know ahead of time was that the Reddit post did conclude, the Reddit post regarding Wax asking the community how many maps should be replaced. And because of that Reddit post, because of the Reddit polling, it does mean that we would get a full fresh set of 9 maps in the map pool, which I was very looking forward to. So we get 9 fresh maps. Speaking of, here they are. Another post here on TL, also by Wax. Again, big shout out to Wax Angel. He is the head admin when it comes to the TLMC. He does run the Team Liquid map contest, and he himself has been, of course, orchestrating the communication with Blizzard to actually push through these map rotations and these new maps as well, the map pools, I should emphasize. And he has kind of gone through the process here of actually how the map pool would be constructed. So he breaks it down. We have a top 3 from the community, from the TLMC. So that's Mothership, Celestial Enclave, and 10,000 feet. So we have our first 3 maps. Then he did actually invite the top 40 players in the world on a Ligulac to a server to have some polling to actually get the next 3 maps, and that would be Ruby Rock, White Rabbit, and Winter Madness. Those were the initial 3 maps picked here to be added to the map pool as well. So interesting decisions there from the pro players. And then we had 3 maps, so that was 6. Then we had 3 more to go to, 3 more voted in by the tournament organizers. And now, fun fact, we were a part of this, the CranKy Ducklings. We actually did have a vote in this as well. And here there was some overlap with the community. So 10,000 feet, Mothership, and Celestial Enclave were removed, of course, and instead Old Republic, Title Citadel, and Tourmaline did make it through instead. And bam, that does construct the entirety of the map pool. That is going to be of course, Mothership, Celestial Enclave, 10,000 feet, Ruby Rock, White Rabbit, Winter Madness, alongside the Old Republic, Title Citadel, and Tourmaline. So we have our 9 fresh maps. Now, It was an interesting process in which this was made. When it comes to my voting process, I remember I was trying to metagame it a little bit. In my brain, in my mind, I was like, Mothership, Celestial Enclave, 10,000 feet, they're sure things. They're sure things. So I tried to give more weight and more voting to some of the other maps that I feel like deserve to be represented. Unfortunately, they did not make it through. I think I'm referring to Satellite Years. I think I'm referring to some of the other maps as well. I think, Satellite Years, I'm thinking, that's it, Magnetic North. Magnetic North got top eight amongst the tournament organizers. Unfortunately, did not make it through. So there were some other maps that I was hopefully gunning for, but did not make it through in the end. So a little bit of a feels bad, man. When it comes to how the overall map pool was constructed, it's an interesting process. My only concern here is that it's purely done from voting, and they are isolated from each other, and it doesn't really take into consideration how the map pool actually looks altogether, right? Altogether. When bringing all these 9 maps together here, I would say that the majority of the maps are very large. They're very large. I remember having a brief discussion with Björn regarding this as well. Björn, he expressed his concerns about how many large maps there were and how that does favor certain styles, specifically certain races in certain matchups as well. And that was a concern that he had. I echoed those concerns as well. Winding it back here, looking at the map pool, I would say there are 3 smaller maps. I'm referring to 10,000 feet, referring to Ruby Rock, and referring to Tourmaline. In my mind, those are the 3 more aggressive, more rushy maps, but the other 6 maps are huge. Like they're Winter Madness, White Rabbit, Mothership, Celestial Enclave, Title Citadel, and the Old Republic. These 6 maps are huge. They're quite large, longer rush distance by ground, and that does favor certain styles. Some of those maps are a little bit more difficult to defend on. I am surprised and I'm shocked that the Old Republic made it through. I'm happy to see that it wasn't voted in by the community, it wasn't voted in by the players, but it was voted in by tournament organizers, which is a little bit concerning. The Old Republic is, I would say, borderline unplayable. I think I gave it like a 2 out of 5, and I think I was tempted to give it a 1 out of 5. The Old Republic is a very large map, but it is insanely difficult to defend your fourth base on the Old Republic. The fourth base is so open. Both fourth base options, I should say. It's so open, so exposed. And what does that mean? That means it's difficult for Terran players to defend and to actually get into a macro game against Zerg and against Protoss. Their fourth base, and we've seen that. We've seen Maru struggle. We've seen Björn struggle. We've seen Cure. Like these top Terran players have struggled on the Old Republic. Likewise, in ZVP, Protoss players have a really hard time protecting their fourth base as well. So we've seen a lot of successful aggression from Zerg. We've seen a lot of top Protoss players also struggle on the Old Republic. So it's a bit of an extreme map, is what I will say. And I'm a little bit shocked that it made it through into the top 16 initially of the TLMC map pool, and then to make it through into the actual ladder map pool as well is kind of crazy. Likewise, there are other like very turtle friendly maps, and maybe it's not a bad thing to have like 1 or 2 of them, I suppose. But White Rabbits is part of that. Winter Madness also part of that as well. And yeah, it's a lot of larger maps. We'll see how the meta does shift. We've already seen a shift in the meta as well. We've seen more longer and later games in TVP. All-ins have been falling by the wayside in the Terran versus Protoss matchup, and again, we'll see how the meta shifts in some of the other matchups as well. It's going to be an interesting time here moving forward. Something very quickly before we move on to the other team map pools is that we also know that there is going to be another TLMC and another map pool rotation before EWC next year. It's a little bit vague. We don't have exact dates. In this post, we do see that Wax did say that I'm looking forward to bringing you good news and about the future of TLMC going forward. A little bit vague, but again, he already did confirm that in the first half of 2026, there is going to be another map pool rotation. So if EWC is around July, August, then we're assuming that a map pool would be before that. I think June, I think maybe around May-ish, like April, May, June-ish, like kind of period of the year is kind of where we should be expecting a new TLMC and a new map pool moving forward. In around like 5 months or something, or even less than that. So yeah, around 5 months would make sense. Which is also why, I don't know if you noticed, but the post in the TLMC does specifically state fall/winter 2025 ladder map pool rotation, implying that most likely the goal is to have 2 ladder map pool rotations a year, one for spring summer, the other for fall and winter. which again does make sense. So again, 2 map pool rotations a year. I know that Wax was maybe thinking about doing it maybe a little bit more frequently, maybe less frequently. Like it was trying to figure out how exactly it did want to bring it all together. But looks like twice a year is kind of what we're currently settling on. Of course, all subject to change, and part of this is speculation. But that's kind of what we're expecting here. Up next, we had the 2v2 map pool. 2v2 map pool was also revamped as well. We had 2 maps voted in from the team TLMC number 5 finalists. So that was Gem Garden and New Bed of Chaos. And what I appreciate is that those aren't the only maps that were added in. We actually had another map, Rust Bucket, also added from the team TLMC voting or tournaments or contest, I should say, from the contest, alongside Rascallion, Verhana, Fields of Death, Yellow Jacket, Undercurrent, and Reclamation. Finally, we have gotten rid of Emerald City. Emerald City has been around for a long time. It's been around for so many years, and finally Emerald City is out of the 2v2 map pool rotation. So my heart goes out to Emerald City. It was with us for many, many, many years, and it now has finally retired. It's finally retired alongside some of the other maps as well. So again, we have a refreshed 2v2 map pool, so looking forward to more 2v2 events in the future. Likewise, we have a revamp of the 3v3 map pool as well. We have added Ball Peak, Incognito, alongside Tacit Sanctity and Radiator as well, all from the team TLMC number 5 tournament or contest. And when it comes to 4v4, we have added Heaven's Ward, we have added Netsphere Terminal, and Greenspill. 3 new maps from the TLMC number 5. So great to see revamped ladder map pools here. And again, we're expecting another one of these Team Liquid map contests, another new fresh map pool in the coming months in the first half of 2026. Pre-EWC. That we do know. So again, is really cool to see. When it comes to how the map pool has been constructed, again, I'm a little bit concerned that it's a little bit too heavy in regards to large, big macro maps. That is a bit of a concern that I have, that there isn't enough options for more mid-sized maps or more aggressive maps. Again, that's just my concern coming into this, but we'll see how Vetoes turn out. We'll see how popular some maps are, other maps are, and how the meta does shift over time. Again, TVP is the matchup that I'm looking at the most when it comes to the shift in the meta. The other matchups, they don't really change too much. Again, we do have the new patch as well, so that's also something to consider. That's also going to be shifting things up as well. We'll see how things transpire as we get into the next wave of tournaments in the off season. We'll get there. We will get there. Likewise, if you're out there, if you're a Protoss player, then as always, Gemini has already released a Reaper Wall-Off guide. So if you're out there, if you're a Protoss player, Gemini, he's the one to follow. Every single season, every single map pool does release those Wall-Off guides. So do recommend checking out Gemini for that update. So much love to Gemini. Much love to Wax as well for bringing this all together. And yeah, what I will say is that we'll see if this is a kind of format that he keeps in regards to the TLMC, in regards to the map pool rotation. If you remember, in the previous edition of this, he did mention how he was trying to refine kind of the process in which the maps are decided on, and trying to automate that and trying to figure out a system which they settled on. Currently, it's 3 from the community, 3 from the pro players, and 3 from tournament organizers. Whether that stays or whether that changes coming into the next Team Liquid Map contest, yet to be determined. We'll see if he prefers that. We'll see if they add, if they remove. We'll see how things do change over time. For now, though, this is the system. But here we go. That leads us into our next big event that did take place throughout the course of the weekend. That is the event happening in Canada. That was Stellarfest. Stellarfest was a week-long tournament. A lot of matches, a lot of content, a lot of StarCraft was held throughout the entire week. But there was some really fun kind of flair to it as well. We had the serious 1v1 bracket. But before that, speaking of 2v2, we did actually have a 2v2 portion. No surprises here. Harambo did take it in the end. I mean, there were definitely they definitely had to fight for it. We saw they went 2-1 against Scarlet and Future, and they went 2-1 against Down and Beyond. And I would say that was the surprising kind of result in regards to this tournament, is that Zhao and Beyond made it to the finals. Like, I favor Trigger and Clem over Zan and Bjorn. Zan and Bjorn, they were freestyling. They didn't really have much, if any, experience in 2v2. So for them to excel as much as they did, for them to make it to the finals was very, very impressive. Of course, Harsam and Lambert did win in the end. I do favor them as a 2v2 team over most duos out there. Not all, like this. Duos, like, I would favor Trigger and Clem over Harsam and Lambert for sure, for example. But they never played, right? They never did play. And of course, congratulations to Harsam and Lambo for claiming the win in the Orsa TV 2v2 Open. That led us into the Merivale Brawl. This is the FFA, I believe. Yeah, they had like a fun FFA as well. Like, again, they had some fun kind of formats. And this is kind of what like I want out of an offline event. Now, they had the benefit of this being like a 4 or 5 day tournament. Like, again, they had a full week. They had a full week where they had the players and they had the venue available to them as well. So it's not like a Cheeseadelphia or a Home Story Cup where they only have a weekend, right? They only have like 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days, that's all they have. Here, to have a full week means that they can do stuff like this. It's like, hey, we have all these players. Let's make some content. Let's do some 2v2s. Let's do some 3v3s. Let's do some FFAs. Let's do some Archon. Let's have fun with these guys. Make content, do some quirky stuff, and then get serious, and then get into like the big event. So it's really cool that they were able to make use of this. It was an FFA Beast of the Hill format. We had Lambo coming out in first place, Zan in second, Scarlet in third, Bjorn in fourth, Clem, followed by Clem, Foxer, Harstam, and Trigger. When it comes to FFAs, I mean, it's not maybe the most balanced of things. It all comes down to like who gangs up on who is a threat, who's able to kind of like fall under the radar and kind of like build up over time. Like, FFAs can be crazy, and there's a lot of other kind of factors that do influence FFAs, which is a lot of fun. A lot of drama can get involved as well. So yeah, congratulations to Lambo. Hey, winning the 2v2s and also winning here in the FFA as well. Harsam having some less success here amongst the two players, but congratulations to Lambo. And that leads us into the actual main event, which we were the B stream for. It was a little bit last minute, and we weren't certain if we were going to be even a part of this tournament. We covered the qualifiers, but we were the B stream for day one of Stellar Fest, and the rest of the event did take place. Again, it was a 3-day event for this portion, for the playoffs. And I would say there were some upsets, for sure. There were some upsets. First things first, Lambo, he excelled in the 2v2, he excelled in the FFA, and I would say that he excelled here as well. He achieved more than I thought he would, specifically in regards to his 2-0 win over Zaun. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. GG, well played. Lambert takes down Harsam 2-1, takes down Zaun 2-0, and then he falls to Clem. But again, I think we were all expecting Zaun to be a dominant force in this tournament, but Zaun did struggle early on. So again, really, really impressive play there by Lambert to get that first win over Zaun. Clem takes the 4-0 over Lambert. Again, he was able to take down Future before that. Went up against Trigger in the upper bracket finals. But before I get into those upper bracket finals, scrolling down a little bit, we do see that another big upset was Scarlet. Scarlet has been out of practice for quite some time. Scarlet has been very inactive, and recently Scarlet did start competing again in regards to the Crank Gatherers tournament. If you remember last week, we spoke about this. We spoke about how Scarlet was fielded again by Shopify for the first time in a long time. Like, Scarlet was on a big hiatus post EWC and only started playing and competing again last week or 2 weeks ago in the Crank Gatherers event, and all leading up to the Stellarfest tournament, and also leading into the show match for the Chinese server, which is also at the end of the month. So some big events on the horizon for Scarlet. So for Scarlet to take down Bjorn 2-0, big win. Bjorn is in form. So again, some crazy upsets in the first day with Zaun and Bjorn both dropping in day one. So some crazy upsets there, because we did expect them both to go far in this tournament. Scarlet takes down Bjorn 2-0, and then Trigger takes on Scarlet 3-0. Trigger, he is the best player in the Americas. That has been the case for quite some time now. Trigger did dethrone Estrella. Estrella was the previous best in the Americas, and now it's Trigger. So Trigger, he was also looking to be a dominant force in this tournament. With Scarlet causing the upset of a Bjorn, I mean, I was like, yo, maybe Scarlet also upsets Trigger. Not quite. This was a much more of an expected result here, as Trigger takes on Scarlet, goes on to face off against Clem in the upper bracket finals, and does pose a threat, does take some games, but Clem will win that series 4-2 to advance on to the grand finals instead. So Clem does advance on to the finals. Scrolling down, we had the lower bracket. So double elimination, lower bracket. Björn was able to fight his way back up, took down Maples, took down Harsum, took down Lambo in very Björn fashion. Zaun likewise took down Mixu, took down Future, but had a very shaky series against Scarlet. So once again, impressive play for Scarlet to beat Björn, for Scarlet to force Zaun to the ace match. Like, that is impressive. Really impressive play. May have gone down to Trigger, but again, like, for Scarlet to at least go toe-to-toe and to even look favored at times against the Koreans was very impressive. So really cool to see Scarlet back in form. Zaun did win that series, went up against Björn. Zaun was able to take that series 4-1. Zaun then takes on Trigger 4-1, and then we have the grand finals between Clem and Zaun. Zaun wins the initial series. For those that are maybe curious as to why there were 2 matches in the finals, well, if you're unfamiliar with the format, double elimination typically dictates that whoever comes in from the upper brackets, because they didn't drop a series, and Zaun did, remember, Zaun, he got knocked down by Lambo. So Clem, coming in for the upper bracket, has to have an advantage. Some tournaments do give that advantage in a score, so where Clem sometimes would come in with a 1-0 advantage, for example, for, not dropping a series. Other tournaments have this kind of format. Think of like Monday Night Weekly, also very similar, where if they lose a series, then they have a second life, and then they have to be beaten twice. So basically here in the grand finals, Zaun would have to win 2 best ofs, and Clem would only have to win 1 best of. That's kind of the format. There are some tournaments where in the rematch, in the final game, sometimes that's like a shorter series, like a best of 3, or like Monday Night Weekly is a best of 1, which is crazy. Like that's too extreme for me. Like that's kind of wild for everything to be dictated in a best of 1. Is kind of nonsense. But for here it was a best of 7. So best of 7 into best of 7. Zaun does win the initial series, very impressive, and then Clem wins in the rematch 4-0. Dominant showing there by Clem in the rematch. Impressive that Zaun won the first series, but Zaun did lose to Lambo earlier, and he was fighting from the lower bracket, so had to win a second series as well, and that was just a little bit too much to ask for Zaun. GG well played. There was that back and forth though, which we do appreciate, but in the end, Clem does win it and is the Stellarfest champion. Congratulations. Again, this was a LAN event happening in Canada. Both Pig and Steadfast had traveled to the event to cover the event live. So they were providing some live coverage. Piggy only just recently came back to Australia yesterday. Just came back yesterday from Canada, from covering this event. And again, we were lucky enough to be the B stream. This was organized by Ursa TV. Ursa has been looking to try to organize and create more of these events. I think there was like a bit of an interview that they did have during the playoffs as well, where Ursa was discussing how he was hoping to include multiple esports and run more of these events. And this is ideally the first of many of these esports events happening in Canada. So it's very ambitious kind of like play, or very ambitious. There's a lot of ambition there for Ursa TV to run the event and to look to run future events as well. It reminds me a little bit of what Geralt is doing, where Geralt has also did run his first offline event in Poland just at the beginning of the year, or halfway through the year, and I would imagine is looking to do that more often, right? To do that on a regular annual basis, to include other esports, other games, and to grow the event over time. Feels like Ursa TV is doing something very similar here as well. So wishing the best. Wishing the best in regards to esports over in Canada, over in Ottawa. I know it's not easy to run events like this at all, and again, congratulations to Clem. The next big piece of news here is something that kind of flew under our radar. It actually occurred at the end of October, but we didn't quite realize and recognize it until last week, or a couple of days ago even, and that is Nike. Nike, apparently, they did release a new sports collection. When I say collection, does include not just shoes, but also other apparel as well. I didn't really know this, but Nike, they're doing more than shoes, apparently. So they released a new collection. It is gaming themed, not necessarily esports themed. It's a little bit more broad than that, but gaming themed, kind of like apparel collection with shoes, with jackets, with jerseys, with shirts, like a full set, full collection. The reason why we bring this up is because Scarlett modeled for them. I say Scarlett modeled. They basically got a group of esports pro gamers, influencers, content creators, streamers. Like, it was a bit of a mixed bag in regards to the gaming space. Scarlett was one of them, alongside a group of others as well. And as a result, she modeled for them. I think there was like a little bit of a misconception regarding this. People asking like, "Yo, did she like? Is she like modeling now, or is this line like specific to StarCraft or specific to Scarlett?" That is not true. It's like more of a general like kind of like gaming brand collection. Scarlett was just one of many that was approached to kind of model the outfit for them, and that's what she's wearing. I'd imagine Crew is showing it right now, but they went full sci-fi for her. I think for each model that they had, they kind of had like a different kind of theme. For Scarlett, they went for like the AI like robot theme, like quote unquote adjutant, where they just like I could just imagine them like decorating this set where someone came in and just threw cables all around the room, like just like threw down all these extension cables from behind the camera just at Scarlett's feet. It's like, yeah, it works. So we got the full like room that's lit up, kind of like Alien-esque, in regards to the Alien movie, where you have like the beeping lights on the walls, like the cables all over the place. But really cool that Scarlett was approached for this. When it comes to the other themes, like there's like a werewolf theme, there's like a superhero theme, there's like a more like adventure, like fantasy theme for some of the other models that they had. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool that Scarlett was approached, and really cool to see them actually like give some attention, I should say, to even some of the StarCraft esports personalities. I mean, Scarlett's very notorious and very renowned, of course, for being like one of the most successful female pro gamers out there, and one of the first big ones as well for StarCraft. So it makes sense for Scarlett to be approached, and really cool that she was given the opportunity to do this, and hopefully we can have more of this in the future. I did look into this myself. I was like, yo, I'm gonna have a look. I'm interested in this collection. I checked, at least here in Australia, it's all sold out. It's also very expensive, as you can imagine as well. It's like very designer brand like collection stuff, and from my understanding, it is all sold out. But hey, if you're interested, you can just, check it out and support them in their endeavors. Maybe they have more of this in the future. But yeah, really cool, really out of left field as well. Like when this was initially shown, I was like, wait, what? I was like, what is happening? So really cool to see. Recently did come out. They released it on the 30th of October. That's why we did mention that it's a little bit over a week old in regards to news. But it's something that just kind of flew under the radar for a little bit, at least from us, for the StarCraft community, till it was posted earlier this week. Like Bunny Slippers merch incoming. True. Oh no. But yeah, so really cool to see, and that kind of ends our news for the week. I said that ends our news for the week. I will be transparent. Something that did fly under my radar. Apparently, there was a big StarCraft miniatures AMA that we're going to be going over next week, but it was a big 2-hour long AMA, and definitely something that I'm interested in going through first before discussing it, to kind of go over the highlights. Likewise, something that we did announce previously, and I guess we'll briefly bring it up here before going into more discussion next time, is EWC. If you remember, they did release an Amazon Prime series going through the Esports World Cup and following certain teams and certain players. One of those players was Clem for Team Liquid, or was Team Liquid, and Clem was focused on because he was the reigning champion from last year's EWC. And we already spoke about this. We already discussed the release of this Amazon series that Esports World Cup did actually, bring to the table and did produce. But the Team Liquid episode with Clem is now free. It's now free on YouTube. It's free on YouTube, so you can check it out on YouTube. We'll be doing so ourselves, and we'll be discussing it next week. we'll be discussing it next week. As it's quite long, actually. So, and unfortunately, didn't quite have any time to go through it for this episode. But next week we'll be discussing. Otherwise, let's jump into our tournaments. First things first, we have our first modded event here for the first time in a long time outside of the Chijik events, StarCraft Evolution. Shout out to Enki. Enki, that muscle, Enki, he did host the Enki Epic Series number 6. This is a series, a show match series of StarCraft Evolution, and we had a best of 9 between Rogue and Björn. It was very fun. We were lucky enough to cast it ourselves in English, and it was a full best of 9, went all the way to game 9 as well, so very intense, very back and forth. I will say that despite the scoreline, it was very clear at times that the players were either unfamiliar with the maps, as we were featuring a lot of new maps that I haven't casted on before. We had maps like Radion, we had Andromeda, we had Kion as well, Arkanoid. There were, again, a lot of maps here that otherwise haven't really been seen before in a long time. We had Subsequence. And you could definitely tell with how some of the players were, with how Björn and Rogue were approaching some of those maps. Likewise, Rogue, he is a little bit of a newer face to StarCraft Evolution. Shin is very well versed, and recently Sola has been playing. Now Rogue, he's kind of like the newest adapter of StarCraft Evolution, or the newest player to switch, or I say switch, to hop on over from StarCraft 2 and try out StarCraft Evolution as well. And you could tell that, again, was a little bit rough around the edges at times. So it was a bit of a shaky series, shaky back and forth. We had some insane macro games, and I think Sylphid stood out. I said at the time, I still remember it, Sylphid game 3 was the game of the series. I think it was the back and forth macro game that we all want. After that, we had a little more shorter games, like catching someone with their pants down, ending it really early, all-ins, for example, timing attacks that would just end things. But Sylphid was amazing, and I do recommend, if you have some time, to at least check out Game 3, if not the entire series. But congratulations to Rogue for winning the entire series. Björn is very well versed when it comes to StarCraft Evolution, but right now StarCraft Evolution is in a really weird place. We spoke about this previously, but they had to kind of scrap the work that they were doing on their most recent patch because of the patch released in StarCraft 2. Right, StarCraft 2, they released their balance patch, changing quite a lot in regards to Storm, in regards to Ghosts, in regards to other key units, and as a result, StarCraft Evolution, for the Brood War side of races, they have to rebalance, right? They have to go in, they have to rebalance things, they have to look at currently how the matchups are changing, if there are any issues with the matchups, and how to respond, how to adjust. So they're hard at work on their next big patch, post the StarCraft 2 patch. So best of luck. And again, this is a monthly tournament, a monthly show match, so I'm sure Enki is going to be hosting another one of these coming into November. So do look forward to that. Otherwise, we do have our amateur events for the week. We do have the Amateur League Weeklies tournament, a monthly tournament number 46. So we spoke about this previously. The Amateur League Weeklies, they do provide points initially. They just provide points, no prize money. But eventually that leads into some of these bigger events that do actually have some prize money. The monthlies are not a part of that, but this leads into a seasonal event, a seasonal final. So again, these monthlies, they do provide even more points, are even more valuable in regards to that seasonal event that does have prize money. First things first, we do have our Bronze to Platinum Initiate League monthlies. For this, we did have Jackals. Jackals, he does fall initially and has to fight his way back up in the lower bracket. Jackals does win over Lismi 3-1 in that best of 5. GG, well played. A couple of players I'm a little bit less familiar with, but I'm always happy to see some newer faces in these amateur league tournaments. Again, if you're out there, if you happen to be a little bit lower ranked, then consider taking part in these tournaments, whether it's for bronze or for platinum, for Diamond 3, Diamond 2, Diamond 1, Masters. These weeklies are split up by league, by rank, and you can, face off against like-minded or similarly ranked players as well. Cool. You do have to ladder, bear that in mind. You do have to have some ladder games involved to actually have a more accurate representation of what your MMR is, but you can take part. Up next, we do have the Veteran Tournament. This is for those between the leagues of Diamond 3 and Diamond 2. Here, not much representation. A little bit surprising, as this tournament typically has a little bit more representation. But here we have Old Lady. Old Lady takes down Yaoi 3-2, went all the way to the ace match. Very intense back and forth, but does claim the win in the end. So congratulations to Old Lady, is one of the more regulars in these tournaments. Then we had the Prestige tournaments. Here we did have we had Steez. Steez looking quite good this time. Takes down Itsui, takes down Battle Beast as well, and takes down Ares in the finals. Steez has been steadily improving, steadily getting better results, and this is a big win here for Steez. GG. GG well played. A very impressive play here, beating Ares in the finals. Congratulations. Congratulations here to Steez. That leads into the Elite tournaments. Once again, when it comes to these events, it is quite rare to see the pro players get involved. I did mention previously that a lot of these weeklies do not have prize money. They only provide points. So there's a little bit less incentive for the pro players to actually get involved. And as you can see here, Nickrat gets a default win. A default win here for Nickrat. Does get himself some points for the end of season tournament. So congratulations here to Nickrat. That leads us into our tournaments. Sea Duckling Open number 140. At one point, this was a weekly tournament. Nowadays, it is a monthly. Every single month, we do host a tournament for those that are 4.2k MR and below. To host this, we had some newer faces as well. We did have a Korean Terran / Zerg player. I say that did have the games to compete as both Zerg and Terran, specifically Ureha. Ureha takes down Sugar Cult the second 2-1 in the quarterfinals, takes down Last Ketchup 2-0, and takes down Vlacus 3-1 in the finals. Did have some back and forth here. Games were taken, but in the end, we did have our newcomer claim the win over Vlacus. Vlacus, who was also a newcomer as well. Fun fact. So always great to see some fresher faces here. Took down Pretty Fly 2-1. Took down Ibri 2-1, and then did 4 in the finals as well. And hopefully these two players become more regulars in our tournaments and can maybe even advance on and graduate eventually into Master Swan Open as well. So GG well played. Again, this is a monthly tournament. Again, back in the day, many years ago, this used to be a weekly for us, but nowadays we don't really have the time to have this as a weekly, unfortunately. So it has since been moved to a monthly tournament instead, where top 2 do get paid out. Oh, and Ureha apparently got double the payout with the random participation prize as well. So GG well played. Congratulations to our top 2 players, and hope to see more of them in the future. GG. That leads into the Toho 2v2 Cup number 8. Again, this is a Chinese tournament. Toho, they are a Chinese team, Toho Project specifically. And we have some interesting pairings here. Okay, so Nanami, Chiaki, and Lemon, I would agree that they are the best duo here amongst all the players. What are the other teams? We see Joliwa did have more of an unknown alongside him. We had Restart and Kingslayer as some of the other notables, and they did make it all the way to the finals. Did make it to the finals here. In the end, Nanami, Chiaki, and Lemon did win 3-1, and I hope to see this duo compete in future 2v2 international tournaments, right? They're doing well here in the more local scene. I would love to see them take it to the international scene as well. The problem is, for example, I'm thinking of the Thermal 2v2 circuit. It is at a really, really bad time for those in the Asia region. I'm talking about like time slot wise, talking about like the Chinese region, Taiwan, Korea, Oceania for us here as well. It starts very, very late. So you have to ruin your sleep schedule and have to make sure you have nothing in the morning to compete, which is why it's difficult to really have many of the Koreans or many of the other players from the region actually take part in that tournament. Lemon does, fun fact, Lemon and Deer, they do compete, but it'd be great to see the duo of Lemon and Nanami next time. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Otherwise, congratulations for winning the eventual tournaments. That leads us into the regional events and show matches as well here in StarCraft 2. When it comes to the regionals, we do have our Young Blood tournament number 2. We spoke earlier, but the Chinese region, I mean, we already covered a 2v2 that they were hosting. They have team leagues, they have weekly open cups as well, and they even have, they don't quite have, and they even have some amateur events. We'll get there though. For now, we have the Young Blood event. This is now slowly becoming a regular event. The first one, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago? Hold on. If you recall, we were speculating as to how frequent this event would be. This did occur Looks to be back in September. Okay. So it's Jesus. Okay, so it's been over a month. But hey, we have a second edition. We have a second edition here for the CIS region. This is for the up and coming players. As you can see here, you have to be below 6k MMR and you have to be below 21 years old. So it is for the younger players out there. There are certain players that do kind of meet one threshold but not the other. For example, Shameless and GG Machine, they're both young, but they do exceed 6k MMR. So Shameless and GG Machine, they cannot take part in this. Meanwhile, we have F2 Click. F2 Click, he does take down Ice Cream 3-0 in the finals. I'm not familiar with Ice Cream. And this is what I love about out of tournaments like this, is that it allows other players to actually get a limelight on them. Ice Cream takes down Toaster, takes down Hacker is Top. That's a big win for Ice Cream. Does fall to F2 Click, but a really impressive run nonetheless. Really impressive here from Ice Cream. Does end up falling to F2 Click. That leads us into the Host Open. Host Open number 21. This is a semi-regular, a monthly event for the Brazilian scene, the Brazilian region. Here we have Master. Master takes down Victor, takes down Stimpacker, takes down Kamikaze 3-0, and takes down Kamikaze 4-0 in the finals. Perfect, flawless win here for Master, not dropping a single map this entire tournament. Again, when it comes to who typically does threaten Master, Inexorable. But if you look at the tournament, Inexorable, first thing, he got knocked out by Kamikaze initially, then he forfeited in the lower bracket. So Inexorable wasn't here, Eric wasn't here either. So without Eric, without Inexorable, Mastery goes by and goes through uncontested. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into the Code for Giants Cup number 27. Speaking of players that can threaten him, once again, Inexorable doesn't have a chance to play against Master. Master 2-0 Stimpacker, he 2-0 Shakti. Impressive to see Shakti once again, and he 3-0s Kamikaze in the finals. Once again, a clean win here for Master. Master, he is the best Protoss player in all of Brazil, arguably in all of Latin America, and again, typically it's down to Inexorable and Eric to stop him, but they are unable to play against him. Not in these two tournaments. Eric, of course, has been MIA, he's been on a hiatus, and Inexorable has been denied facing off against him as he's been falling to Kamikaze recently. So really impressive play by Kamikaze to make it to the finals twice now, but still is unable to kind of climb that hurdle that is Master. That leads us into a monthly tournament. So this is the Code for Giants Cup LATAM edition. This is for the entirety of the Latin American region, and we have our typical Brazilian players that we do expect, but we have some Latin Americans. Eon takes down Cham? Oh my god. That is crazy. Cham was heavily favored to go far here, but Eon takes down Cham 2-1. Big win. Eon takes a map off of Master. Very impressive. And we also had in the lower bracket that the Mega was competing, and Mute takes down the Mega. Mute takes down Kamikaze. Mute gets a walkover win over Paco Mike. Paquito was playing. Paquito was playing, but did forfeit in the semifinals. And Mute takes down Master 3-0 in the grand finals. Finally, we have these two players face off. Mute and Master, they are the two best Protoss players in all of Latin America. This is the first time that they've played against each other in a tournament, as they've never competed against each other before, and that was a clean win for Mute, 3-0, and looking to cement himself as the best Protoss in Latin America. GG, well played. Very impressive win here for Mute. Master does finally meet his match. I mean, again, did drop a map against Eon earlier, and here does drop a series versus Mute. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into the Legacy Weekly Japan. This is a weekly Japanese tournament, and I'm looking for where is me Tapioca? I believe Tapioca, he goes down to Psyarch. Let's go. Psyarch, for the first time in a long time, knocks down Tapioca in the quarterfinals, takes down Kazumon in the semis, but does fall to Akira in the finals. Akira's a player that I'm a little bit unfamiliar with. I haven't noticed any deep runs from Akira in the past. Takes down Shirayuki, that's a big win. Takes down Nisezo, a player that I'm also unfamiliar with, and again takes down Psyarch in the finals. So more of an unknown here, Akira. Usually we're looking at players like Psyarch, players like Crimson, players like Tapioca as well, Vaishravanya, of course, but to see Akira popping off here is a bit of a surprise. GG. GG, well played. Quickly checking how many tournaments Akira has played in, actually. Akira has competed in many Legacy Weekly Japans in the past, but this, I believe... Yeah, Akira normally gets knocked down early. I'm looking here. Gets knocked down by Vaishivanya. Gets knocked down by Kazuman as well. We see Akita getting knocked down by Psyark. And very quickly knocked down by Tapioca. Yeah, this is the first win. This is Akita's very first Legacy Weekly Japan win. Very impressive. GG. Has been competing for a very, very long time. I say for a long time. Has been competing for years, I want to say. Yeah, has been competing since 2023 in these weeklies, and for the first time does win an Open Cup. GG, well played. Congratulations to Akita. Does claim the win for the first time over Psyark. Very impressive play here. GG, well played. That leads us into our weekly Chinese tournaments. The Sunrise Cup number 221 is upon us. And in this tournament we have Lancer, he sometimes does show up in these tournaments. He does get the walkover win over Smile, takes down Lingui as well, and takes down Jolo Loves in the finals. Was meant to be best of 5, but looks like it wins the best of 1. Maybe Jolo Loves did forfeit in the finals. That's why we didn't get a full series. Actually, a lot of forfeits in this bracket. Smile forfeited. I want to say, is that Millennium Fox forfeited against Jolo Loves as well. So, unfortunately, a lot of forfeits. Some of our regulars weren't here either. Nanami, I was about to say Nanami Chiaki wasn't here, but was here. Did also forfeit in the round of 16. So a lot of forfeits. A little bit awkward, very unfortunate. Hopefully everything's okay. Maybe something was happening when it came to the server, something that was unstable. But to see this many forfeits is a little bit unusual. So GG Lancer. GG, well played. Congratulations to Lancer as he does take the win. That leads us into the 2025 StarCraft 2 Intercollegiate Welcome Cup. We did mention previously that this was more of a welcoming cup here in regards to celebrating the return of the NetEase events. I mean, I say that, I think that was for another tournament actually that we discussed last time. But regardless, this is more of an amateur event. This is divided by MMR. We've been progressing through this over time. It looks like we have the group stage. The group stage to conclude, we have the playoffs. And again, when it comes to the playoffs here, it is divided by MMR. So we did have stage 3 concluding. And what does translate say? Grapefruit Cat. Yozumo. Yozumo. Congratulations to Grapefruit Cats. Interesting name. For winning 3-1 over their opponent in the finals. Okay, let's see. Who was their opponent in the finals? Apparently translates to the lingering rain and dust. Let's go. But GG well played. As we do have our Protoss winner here in the grand finals. Meanwhile, we had stage B. Likewise, we also had, okay, what does translate tell us? It said apparently keyboard poison milk. I'd like to believe that's like poisonous keyboard or like venomous keyboard or something. I know this probably like toxic keyboard. True, something like that. It's probably what it better translates to. But regardless, congratulations to our Zerg champion winning 3-1 over his opponent. Meanwhile, we have stage A. This is for the highest MMR brackets. We have Triple H, Lingli, Oriana. We have Miggy as well. So we have some regulars, some top players are competing here. And that is Millennium Fox up against Miggy in the first round. Coming into this, my predictions here, as we have yet to conclude this portion, this is going to be in 2 days' time. I'm leaning towards the TVT finals between Oriana and Millennium Fox. I'm feeling that here. Triple H is definitely going to be a threat, 100%. Miggy's also going to be a threat, but I'm going to lean towards the two of them making it far here, and maybe even Oriana winning the entire tournament. We'll see. Best of luck. Best of luck to our players here. Best of luck to our competitors. Again, this is a more interesting kind of like collegiate tournament that has been taking place. Best of luck, as it's been running for the past couple of months. Heading on over, we do have our Team League. We do have the Elpis Team League 2025 Full Code A Edition. We do have the regular season, I believe, finally coming to an end. Okay, so we have the regular season. Quickly heading on over here, we have the final results coming in. So last time we did go over round 6, and now here comes round 7. So first things first, we have Rookie Warpgate. They get the walkover win over Rookie Warpgate. That's a little bit odd, a little bit. But yes, congratulations to Rookie Warpgate. They do get the win. We have 4 Leaf Clover, 5-1 over PTB. Very impressive, as they do claim the win there. We likewise have Starlight Twinkle Team 2 getting the win over their opponents in that final round. With that, we have the final standings. We have 4-Leaf Clover in first place. We have Starlight Twinkle Division 2 in second place. Protos the Best PTB in third, and Rookie Warp Gate in fourth place. So we have our top 4 teams, and now we have a constructed playoff bracket as well. Based on their performances, certain teams are seeded further in. So 4-Leaf Clover, they're in the finals. We have Starlight Twinkle in the semis, and then we have Protos the Best and Rookie Warp Gate facing off in 2 days in the quarterfinals. So again, that's going to be in 2 days' time. Looks like the entirety of the event will take 3 weeks to conclude. So every week we'll have an update regarding the playoff bracket. So best of luck to the Code A teams. That leads us into Code S. Code S also did conclude. We did have a PCEC. They get the win over Team Little Fairy. Very impressive play here. As Shameless does not take his series, we have a tied 1-1 score instead. Shameless is the ace player for his team, so they often do rely on him to make it far in the tournament. Is this Sikuno? Hold on. That's right, that's Nanyo. Oh, very impressive. Nanyo takes a game off of Shameless. They're tied 1-1. Then we had the win with Millennium Fox. He gets a 2-0 win over Ghost Runner. And of course, we have the Ear tying 1-1 against his opponent in the first round. So big win there for PCEC. We then have Kaoda. Kaoda takes down Hist 4-2. Very impressive. Kingslayer did win his match. Winter wins his match, and Ghost takes down his opponent 2-0 as well. So big win there for Kaoda. We then have Starlight Twinkle versus Toho Project. I'll be honest, Toho Project, they did pose a bigger threat than I assumed. Like, I heavily favor Starlight Twinkle, so for Daydreamer to take a game off of Young Zest is very impressive. Triple H takes down his opponent 2-0. Rewhite takes down his opponent 2-0 as well. And then we have the ace match between Jollywa Loves and Daydreamer. Oh, wait, sorry, my apologies. I misread that. Sorry, Sama takes down Triple H. Oh, upset. Big upset here. Triple H does actually fall in his series 2-0. That's why we had the ace match. And then in the end, Jollywa Loves It does take the win over Daydreamer in the finals in that ace. But again, a very intense back and forth. Very impressive play there by Toho Project. Very impressive, considering they did not make it out of the group stage, by the way. And Starlight Twinkle, they came out in first place, so they almost beat him. Scrolling down, we have Elpis versus Astartes. In the end, Elpis takes the win. Restarts and his opponent, they tie 1-1. We have Miggy, 2-0's Latte. And of course, we did have the final player take down Haliv. Oh, that's Nanami. Nanami Chiaki takes down Leave 2-0 as well. So in the end of these standings, we have Starlight Twinkle in first place, Elpis in second, PCEC in third, and Kaoda in fourth place. And again, that shows like how impressive Toho Project was. Like, they almost beat Starlight Twinkle. Don't think that would have been enough to push them. That wouldn't have been enough to push them into the top 4, but it could have impacted the overall placing of Starlight Twinkle. So GG, well played. That leads us into the playoff bracket. It has been constructed. Again, we have Starlight Twinkle waiting in the finals. We have Elpis in the semis, then we have PCEC and Kaoda in the quarterfinals. Little Fairy barely did not make it through. As we mentioned, Little Fairy has arguably the best player in the league, but Shameless cannot carry by himself. It is a team league. It's a team effort, and in the end, they did not make it through. Coming into this tournament, who do we favor here? I mean, it's going to be Starlight Twinkle and Elpis. Like, they're the top 2 teams for a reason. I think that PCEC is a bit of a sleeper team. They have a lot of potential, right? So they have a lot of potential with Millennium Fox, with Nanyo as well, right? Like, they're 2 very good players, and Mixu's also on PCEC, so I do think that they can pop off if they feel their best team. So best of luck to PCEC. Kaoda is going to be the weakest team, I would say. Like, Kaoda, it's impressive that they made it this far, but they have one of the weaker rosters. They're going to be struggling a little bit more. And again, the underdog pick is for PCEC to take the entire thing, but it's going to be a tough ask. It's going to be very, very difficult. Best of luck. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into Lily Cup number 47. This was a show match that we did cover on our own personal channel. Best of 7 show match between Rainer and Hero. and we had one standard game. We covered this series on the channel, and Hero, he was an animal. He went for a different build every single game. Game 1 on Pylon, he went for a Tempest Rush. Game 2, he went for Glaive Adepts. Game 3, he went for like a Charge Immortal all-in. Like, it was just crazy nonsense every single game. And Raynor had a really hard time reading Hero and getting ready for him. He had a really, really hard time. Game 1, for example, Raynor believed that he scattered Glaive Adepts, or he saw it was 2-base. He saw it was a 2-base all-in. He assumed it was going to be ground-base. Then Tempest arrived, and the lair wasn't even done. So Raynor just died. Like, there was just a lot of deception, a lot of unorthodox builds, unorthodox play. Raynor, he was finally able to get into his own game on Persephone, where he finally got up to 4-base saturation. That was the only time that ever really happened. That was the only time he got to actually settle into an economy and get into a back and forth and come out on top. Tokamak was also a little bit more back and forth as well. It did lead into a longer game state, but Hero was still very comfortable throughout the entire series. GG. It did feel like Raynor just wants a macro. Like Raynor, he just wants a macro. He just wanted to build up into 3 and 4 bases and get into his ideal army, but he never got there. He never really got there. Or not too often, I should say, in this series. And GG. GG well played. Hero does take the win. The very dominant result, very dominant showing. But again, when it comes to the games specifically themselves, there was a lot of cheese. A lot of aggression from Hero, and he was able to pull a fast one over on Raynor. GG. GG well played. That leads us into the XY Fans Cup number 14. Not a tournament that I'm used to seeing. Apparently, it's the first one of the year. The previous edition was back in 2024, so it's been a while. It's been a very, very long time. Yeah, interesting. We do have the graphic being made, so looks like the same people behind Little League Cup is what I'm seeing here. SMH my head. But yes, we do have XY versus Young Yakov in a best of 7. From my understanding, the XY Fans Cup, I think every single time they just throw XY to a different player. Let's see. XY played against Young Zest last time. He played against Christina Yo. He played against who else? Breaking GG. Oh, Breaking GG. Okay. Against Hist. So yeah, every single tournament is just XY versus X player. Looks like you earn prize money per win, and 7-0 in favor of Young Yakov. They play out every single game, and Young Yakov, he is the dominant force. XY, it's been a while since he's been an active competitor, especially with WTL coming to a close. That's when he was more active, is competing for his team in WTL. But without World Team League, XY, he has taken a step back, more of a caster nowadays, and not so much a competitor as he once was. And yeah, it's a dominant showing by Young Yakov. Dominant showing. GG well played. GG well played. That leads us into the Kung Fu Cup. Kung Fu Cup at 2025 monthly number 3. Kung Fu Cup has, for the time being, changed into a monthly tournament. Again, we did announce a return of Kung Fu Cup with the return of the Chinese server, and this is going to be a 4-day event. 4 days of StarCraft. Day 1 did conclude. Day 2 begins in an hour's time. We have chosen not to cast this live just because it does start really, really late, and I'm no longer able to cover events that late anymore. We will most likely be covering this via replays. So we're probably going to be having a replay cast of this in the future, in the coming week. For now, though, big win here. Classic takes down Solo 2-1. Best of 3s initially in the first round. Cure takes down Hero 2-1. I would say these big wins here for Classic and Cure. I mean, Solo was definitely coming in as the underdog, but Hero was favored against Cure. But it's the best of 3. Best of 3. Went all the way to the ace match. Cure gets the win. Very nicely done. Raynor takes down Gumiho 2-0. We spoke about this before, but Gumiho is very out of practice nowadays. He is very out of form, so that was going to be a rough series there for Gumiho. And we have Showtime versus Bjorn. That'll be later on tonight in an hour's time. Sorry, 40 minutes even. That'll be in 40 minutes. Meanwhile, we have Hero. Hero takes on Solar 3-2, and Solar's the first player to be knocked out of the tournament. Went all the way to the ace match, so shout out to Solar for holding his own, but Hero does claim the win in the end. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Hero for advancing on into the lower bracket. And again, it's still early in the tournament. The format is double elimination. We have a lot of best of 3s. We have the upper bracket quarterfinals, the best of 3s. Fun fact, moving forward, we have purely best of 5s, and then we have the best of 7s in the lower bracket finals, in the grand finals as well, and the upper bracket finals. So Jesus, that's a lot of best of 5s and a lot of best of 7s ahead of us here. That's why it's going to be a 4-day event. A lot of days of StarCraft. Oh boy. Yeah, a lot of StarCraft is ahead of us here. Sorry, I think it's a 5-day event actually. Yeah, sorry, 5-day event. So yeah, with that, best of luck. Best of luck to all the players here. When it comes to our predictions, when it comes to tournaments like this, it's gonna be a harder one to call. I will say, I mean, we just saw Hero look dominant against Raynor. If Raynor can avoid Hero, I think I might favor Raynor against everyone except for Classic. Classic is a very different kind of player. Classic is a little more macro compared to Hero. So you could argue that Raynor is maybe going to be a little bit more comfortable against Classic. I would agree with that. I would say that Raynor, he's going to have a better time against Classic than against Hero. But Classic also has the best late game PvC in the world. Like better than Hero, better than Max Packs, better than Showtime. Like Classic, you do not get better than him. So I still favor Classic. Even if Raynor gets comfortable, I'm going to be favoring Classic in those longer macro games, especially on this map pool as well. So best of luck to Raynor. Best of luck to Raynor in his endeavors. If he does even make it that far, of course. I have a really hard time judging Showtime just because Showtime has been less active, so I don't know the kind of form that Showtime is in. Bjorn, he has also been struggling in TVP as of late, so yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Classic here. But best of luck to Raynor. Would love to see him do well when it comes to the conclusion of this tournament. Best of luck. That leads us into this week's OSC tournaments. A lot of OSC matches were occurring this week. We have initially the OSC Elite Rising Star number 17. Again, this is a tournament that is restricted to lower league or lower players. Basically, players that players that achieved too high of placements in big offline events, in EPT, in DreamHacks, and EWC are ineligible for this tournament. This is for the up-and-coming pro players. So players like Shameless, players like Percival, players like Young Yakov, these very strong players in their own right, but still up and coming. And we have this week's results coming in. Shameless does advance on over Demi 2-0. We have Jumi over Art. We have Hydra over Rebellion as well. Percival takes down Lelix 2-0. Lelix took down Mute. We have Babe Marine versus Young Yakov still to take part as well. When it comes to the matches that were played out this week, it was mainly lower bracket matches. So we did say goodbye to some key players. They were knocked out. That was Homono. Homono is out of the tournament. Jomek is knocked out. Bappy is knocked out. Triple and Art as well. So some players are now starting to get knocked out of the tournament. Still so many more matches to go. And the big players that we have our eyes on are Shameless, Percival, and Young Yakov. The two finalists of the previous Rising Star tournament was Percival and Young Yakov. They did face in the finals. In the end, I believe Percival did barely win over Young Yakov in those finals, went all the way to the ace match. Sorry, it was the other way. Yakov barely won over Percival 3-2. And that is a sign of things to come, by the way. But yes, Yakov barely did beat Percival in the previous tournaments. I'm looking forward to their rematch. Looking forward to it. As they already had one this week, we'll get there. Up next, we have the Masters Cup. This is a tournament that is sponsored and casted by Dave Tester. So he's been covering this event. It looks like Group A did conclude, and the following groups will be coming up around the corner. We had Solar Ender played. Oh my god. And Ender, he did well. Okay. We had Solar, Ender, Baby Marine, Lelix, and Demi. Very exciting to see Ender competing for the first time in a very long time. He 2-0'd Lelix, he 2-0'd Demi. He went 1-1 against Baby Marine, and he lost 0-2 against Solar. Really impressive performance here by Ender. Again, when was the last time Ender competed? I'm just quickly double checking here. I know that Ender's been streaming a lot over the past year, but I think it's been a couple of years. Let's see here. Yeah. Before the Masters Cup 150, Ender, he last played in 2023. It's been 2 years. it's technically it's been over 2 years because it was November 3rd of 2023. Now it's November 12th. So over 2 years ago is the last time he really competed. And even then, before that, it would have been 2022. Like, Ender's been very inactive for a very, very long time. So really cool to see him stepping in, taking part, and doing well. Much love to Ender. Solar, Ender, and Baby Marine, they do make it through the group. We have Group B, C, and D thereafter. Bjorn, Cham, Christiana, Percival, and Rebellion. I would imagine that week by week, we're going to be going through the groups one at a time, I would imagine. It's going to be a very long event leading into a double elimination playoffs bracket. I'm going to lean towards Bjorn, Cham, and... God. I'm going to lean towards Beyond Sham and Percival, but I can see Cristiano making it out of the group. I think Rebellion is like the dark horse in Group B. It's looking pretty top heavy there. Like Group B is looking very competitive amongst the players. Best of luck to Rebellion. Group C is Creator, Homono, Nickrex, Sebestis, and Young Yakov. Interesting. Sebestis, I always want to say like he has a little potential as a player, but he has been a little bit shaky here and there. I'm going to lean towards Creator, Nickrex, and Young Yakov, but I want Sebestis to do well. Group D, we have Jumi, Folkster, Geralt, Inexorable, and Moja. Coming into this, Jumi hasn't been as active as of late. He's been streaming, that is true, but he hasn't necessarily been on that grind. Folkster has been looking impressive. Geralt is coming in as top seed, leaning towards Geralt, Jumi, and maybe Moja. It's hard to compare Moja and Folkster. Best of luck. Best of luck. I want Folkster to do well. I do want it to do well there. But again, I would imagine we're going to be getting updates of this tournament on a weekly basis. So best of luck. Best of luck to all the players. As that leads us into the OSC mid-season playoffs. Oh, I believe this is covered by Wardy, if I'm not mistaken. But we do have some results coming in. Un momento. One moment here. Okay, we had Percival versus Sham in the lower bracket to conclude. Percival did just barely beat Sham 3-2. Big win there for Percival. Cristiano, hey, we were discussing the two of them facing off earlier, and Cristiano, he was able to take down Trigger 3-1. Big win there for Cristiano. Takes down Percival 3-2. Also a big win up against Beyond in the next round. Spirit, if you remember, we were very hyped for Spirit. Spirit, he actually performed insanely well in the Wardy, I think it was the Wardy October tournament. But Spirit, he had a crazy performance last month in October, and he also beat Creator 3-1 previously. So after those results, we were like, yo, Spirit, he's going to go far. He's going to go far. If you remember, we were talking about how we were on the Spirit hype train, and we were also expecting better results from Spirit in the most recent Wardy event that we'll be discussing later as well. But yes, Spirit, he took down Creator, took down GG Machine, took down Geralt, he 3-2'd Hearthstone, he 3-2'd Cure as well. And again, I feel like we got to reiterate this. For whatever reason, Spirit had a really lackluster 2025. Like the first half of this year up to EWC, his spirit wasn't there. Like he was performing, I would say, a little bit worse than what he did last year. Last year, Spirit was looking insanely impressive. Like this is the Spirit that we saw in 2024. And then he's been gone the entire year up until now, post EWC this past month. For whatever reason, Spirit, he's been grinding again. I don't know what it was, whether it was the latest patch, whether it's now the new map pool. I don't know what's been motivating him, but Spirit, he has been improving very quickly, very suddenly over the past, month of play. It's been really cool to see Spirit's return, and again, big wins here for Spirit, knocking out Hearthstone, Geralt, Creator, and Cure, and GG Machine as well. Now, do I favor Spirit against these other players? I mean, right now, Spirit, he does have momentum, for sure. It's still going to be difficult to bring down Bjorn and Cristiano, Solar, and MaxFax, but I would not be surprised if Spirit goes a little bit further than this. So, best of luck to Spirit. That leads us into the OSC Weekly. Here we did have an interesting turnout. We had Erebus taking down Hatsu initially in the first game. Uwu Thermal showed up. He took down Erebus, took down Jimmy, took down Wayne, took down Baby Marine as well. Very impressive. And then we had a big win streak for Solar. Solar takes from there, takes down Uthermal, Demi, Nigrat, Lelix, Young, Yakov, and Art, and Percival as well, before being knocked out by Shameless. There's a reason why we do have a lot of hype around Shameless as a young up-and-coming player. He takes down Solar. Short-lived, he gets knocked down by Milky Cow. Short-lived as well, gets knocked out by Moja. Again, this is a King of the Hill style tournament. Best of ones. Winner stays on, loser is eliminated. And we had some crazy win streaks here from Solar and Uthermal, and we had a couple of wins by Erebus, by Shameless, Milky Cow, and Moja. GG all played. In the end, Solar walks away with most of the prize money. Uthermal was second, and then, of course, the others do get some prize money as well. I think Shameless did get a bonus because he was able to end a win streak. But maybe the win streak didn't last as long as it needed to. Regardless, GG will play. Congratulations to our player. Impressive win there for Shameless. Impressive win streak for Uthermal as well. To beat Jumi and Wayne, that is not easy. That is not easy at all. So I don't want to gloss over that. Like Uthermal, he's mainly a content creator nowadays. He does focus a lot on 2v2s. So for him to win some of these 1v1s is impressive. GG. Este Uthermal. Does claim some of those wins. So that leads us into the Open Cups this week. We do have plenty of Open Cups to discuss. First thing is first, we do have the Korean StarCraft League, the KSL week number 82. I want to say there was a bit of a break, a bit of a hiatus before the previous one, like an extended downtime between tournaments. But now the KSL is back. And we had an interesting KSL this week. A lot of European representation with Seamus and Young Yakov. Yakov's looking very impressive. He takes down Seamus 2-1. Did take a map off of Classic. And I'll be honest, there's a world where Yakov could have 2-0'd. Where he could have 2-0'd. Like, the game on Persephone was very close. Maganatha was a little bit more in favor of Classic, though, and a little bit more comfortable for Classic. But Yakov, he was able to threaten Classic, which was impressive. GG. GG well played. Likewise, we had Creator taking down Rebellion, taking down Percival 2-1, and Classic does take down Creator 3-0 in the finals. Dominant showing by Classic in the finals. We are missing some players. Again, some players were traveling, like Zan and Björn traveling to Canada for Stellarfest, so they were not available for this. Hero is usually competing in these tournaments as well, so I'm a little bit surprised to see that Hero was not here, was not a part of this event. In the end, Classic did clean house. But again, the biggest threat to Classic was Young Yakov. And again, he almost 2-0'd. Like, he had a really, really impressive series, very aggressive series as well, with Classic almost getting caught out. But GG. GG, congratulations to Classic for claiming the win. That leads us into the Hatchery Cup. This did happen not too long ago. But again, the Hatchery Cup has been a semi-regular tournament. At one point was a monthly tournament, then went on a bit of a hiatus, went on a break, but it recently did come back. The last Hatchery Cup was back in May. Jesus, was back in May, over 5 months ago. But congratulations here to Nickrat. Heading on over, we have Seamus. Seamus takes down Tiger, takes down Art 2-1, and we had a back and forth. Seamus and Nickrat went all the way to the ace match. Do love to see how competitive these two players are with each other. Nickrat also took down Milky Cow. I know that there was a time where Nickrat was hyping up Milky Cow as being the best Terran in the CIS region, but to see Nickrat more confidently and more regularly take down Milky Cow and even take it to Seamus here, really impressive play. Nickrat has been improving and impressing a lot recently. So GG well played. Congratulations to Nickrat for claiming the win. That leads us into this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup, our weekly Open Cup, and here we did have, I would say, some crazy results. First things first, Cristiano 2-1 over Solar. Very impressive win in the semifinals. Solar, he is the #1 player of this tournament. He's the #1 seed. He was expected to win the entire tournament, and Cristiano stops him early on in the semis. Very impressive play there by Cristiano. GG. GG well played. Meanwhile, heading on down, another big upset was Young Yakov. We were hyping him up earlier. We were praising him for his results, and here he takes down Nightmare 2-0. Big win there for Young Yakov. He takes down Nightmare 2-0. He takes a game off of Skillus as well. They had that back and forth. Skillus did have a more one-sided finals, for sure. It was a much more one-sided finals, 3-0 over Cristiano, but the semis did not disappoint. I would say the semis were kind of like the matches of the tournament. The grand finals were a little bit more lackluster, but again, I do highly recommend the VODs, if you missed them, of Cristiano versus Solar and Young Yakov versus Skillus. GG. GG, well played. Also, I don't want to gloss over it, there was another upset. Not just Cristiano beating Solar, but early on in the tournament, Ledlix took down Nickrat. Like, Nickrat, hey, he just took down Seamus 3-2 in the Hatchery Cup. So for Nickrat to be 2-0'd in the round 16, that was a crazy upset. Like, I was heavily favoring Nickrat to go up against Solar in the next round, but no, Nickrat, he got knocked out very early on by Ledlix. So very impressive. GG. GG, well played. Ested Ledlix. Looking very impressive here in the Tuna Cup. GG well played. That leads us into the Wardy TV Monday number 59. Now again, there were 2 Wardy TV Mondays this week, so we have 59 and 60 back to back. The reasoning for this is because Wardy did have front page. He had Twitch front page access, so we did run 2 tournaments to try to take advantage of that, and we actually have some crazy results here. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cast this. We will be covering this via replays in a couple of days, just as a heads up. Once again, we have Alasia returning. Alasia, he came back in the previous Wardy TV Monday, and now he's here back-to-back 2 weeks in a row. the return of a laser from Age of Empires. Great to see him back. He 2-0's creator. Crazy. 2-0's creator. He does fall to Solar. Hero takes down Ryung, and Solar defeats Hero. We saw Hero take down Solar earlier in the Kung Fu Cup, but here Solar, he does get his revenge over Hero 2-0. Likewise, we then have him taking down Max. Someone is missing, Clem. There's no Clem this week, not in this tournament, and Solar, he does get the upset. Max without Clem, without Hero, without Classic to play against him. Max is typically favored, but Solar does barely get the win over Max in those finals. GG. Very impressive play there by Solar. When it comes to the round 16, also I don't want to gloss over this. I did mention that typically who threatens Max? Clem, Hero, Classic. Classic got knocked out. Ryung, Ryung drop happy. Ay. This is why it's harsh when Crank makes fun of Ryung, because Ryung's actually a really good player. And even here, he takes down Classic. He 2-1s Classic in the first round, and he took a map off of Hero as well. Like Ryung, he is a very deadly player in TVP, and I feel like a lot of people do gloss over him, even Crank as well. But he's very good, he's very strong, he is very potent. I would say his weakest matchup is TVZ. Like his versus Zerg is looking a little bit more shaky at times, but his other matchups are on point, and GG. Really impressive play there by Ryung. Very impressive. As that leads us into the World TV Monday number 60. Right after the initial World TV Monday, we did have another back-to-back. In this tournament, we do have Percival. He takes on Solar, he had just won a tournament, but right afterwards, Percival does knock him down in the TVZ. I believe Solar did avoid Terrans in the previous bracket. He did. Not mistaken. Did he avoid Cure? Yes. So Solar, he avoided TVZ in the previous bracket. Here, though, he gets knocked out by Percival. Very impressive. Showtime, he does fall to Percival as well. So Percival, he does pop off, taking down Solar, taking down Showtime. Max, he's limited by Hero. If you remember, Max did avoid Hero in the initial tournament. Here, forced to face off. Hero does take the 2-0, and Hero takes down Percival 3-0 in the finals. A much more comfortable finals here for Hero, but a very impressive run for Percival to take down Solar and to take down Showtime. GG, well played. Something that I'll take note of is that in either one of these tournaments, Clem wasn't here. He wasn't available. Interesting. Likewise, neither was Björn, but Björn is traveling. He's traveling back from Canada, of course. So Björn was going to be less available, but congratulations to Hero for claiming the win. That leads us into the Turtle Tussle number 35. This was this morning's broadcast, and here we did have a bit of an unfortunate result in the semis. So this result isn't necessarily accurate. Solar did win 2-0. Solar, he won 2-0. Actually, if you open up the series, it'll show that. Solar, he won 2-0 over Yang Yakov. Very impressive play there by Solar. He was looking dominant, looking to win the entire tournament. But Solar did forfeit right after, as he did cite being a little bit too tired and passing out. It looks like Solar, he had stayed up the entire night earlier, so he was unable to continue to compete, so Solar did forfeit. As a result, we did have the Young Yakov Percival rematch. Yakov did beat Percival previously in the Rising Star tournament, and he does it here as well, also 3-2. It was a very impressive comeback. I'll be honest, Percival was looking dominant. Percival, he was up 2-0. And then in game 3, he cheesed. He went for a proxy 3-racks. He got shut down immediately. Sorry, that was in game 4. On 10,000 feet, we had an intense back and forth macro game, which Young Yakov barely did win. On Tourmaline, Percival did proxy. He got scouted, he got shut down. So then suddenly Yakov was up 2-0. And then coming into Winter Madness, Young Yakov, he went for a Link Queen Nidus all-in. It was very old school. It's a Dark build. Like, I haven't seen a Zerg player go for a Link Queen Nidus all-in since Dark retired. It's been a long time. So it was a blast from the past, very nostalgic. And Young Yakov gets the win over Percival 3-0. Crazy way to end the series. GG, well played. As Percival, he was caught with the pants were down, pappy. The pants were down. And he was caught out. That leads us into the World TV Korean Royale number 4. That leads us into the group stage. The group stage has been slowly progressing. Looks like it will continue tomorrow. So I think that's just because Kung Fu Cup is tonight. But Kung Fu Cup is tomorrow as well. So there might be some clashing there. There might be. But regardless, the World TV events, it is good. It is slowly progressing. It's really hard to kind of judge how well some players are going to perform. It is very Korean heavy, of course. Raynor is in the mix as well. So far, when it comes to the standings, Solar's on top, followed by Raynor, Nightmare, Ryung. Percival is yet to play a game. Zhao is yet to play a game. And Cure has been struggling. Ooh. Yeah, he got knocked down by Ryung 2-0. Ryung has the best TVT in the world. Makes sense. Cure gets knocked down by Raynor, and he gets knocked down by Nightmare as well. So really rough start to the group for Cure. Very, very rough, and hopefully he can recover in the upcoming games. It's kind of hard to kind of like speculate as to who will advance on out of these groups. Like, it's just the groups are so large and the playoff bracket is so wide as well. A lot of seeding is going to be crucial, is going to be important here. Coming into this tournament, the heavy hitters are going to be Solar and Raynor. Solar and Raynor, they can go far, they can excel. They're going to be the top two of their group, of course. Zhao, he recently came second in Cellarfest, and he did beat Clem as well. So Zhao, he should be looking strong against the other Terran opponents, Ryung, Percival, and Cure. So I'm leaning towards Solar, Raynor, and Zhao performing well in their group. For Group B, we have Hero and Classic in the same group. They're both going to excel, I would imagine, followed by, I would imagine, Rogue. Shin has been less active. Gumio has been less active. We'll see. It's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call, 100%. And I guess next week we'll have the results. We'll have the results of the group stage. Looks like the playoffs will be taking place in 2 weeks' time. So playoffs will be delayed, but the group stage should wrap up by the time we get into next week's podcast. We'll get there. We will get there. And again, when it comes to the Kung Fu Cup, which is going to be starting soon, we should be covering that via replays at a later time, at a later date. We won't be covering that live just because it's just starting a little bit too late for us nowadays. Starting a little bit too late. Smurge, man. Smurge. Yeah. But otherwise, with that, if you want to take part in some of these tournaments, if you want to take part in some of these open cups or even regional events, !sign up list. !sign up list in the chat. You can see the countdown timers here to Pigastar Cup. Pigastar Cup is going to be tomorrow. We have MSO, we have Tuna Cup, we have the Wardy TV Mondays, Monday Night Weeklies. We have plenty of content throughout the course of the week. And if you want to take part in these events, you can sign up. You can take part yourself. You can take part. Doesn't matter if you're a pro player. Doesn't matter if you're an amateur player as well. You can. A lot of these events are open to all, and you can take part. You can be part of the scene, part of the community, and even face off against your favorite player. You can do so. You can get trounced by Clem's Protoss, papi. Let's go. You can play against Clem, play against Solar, play against Raynor. Again, the open cups are open to all, so do consider taking part, or even some of the more MMR restricted events as well. You can also take part in to have a little bit of a greater chance to achieve a little bit more and to have some deeper and better results. Let's go. Do consider it. Likewise, if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. Our Patreon is designed to fund our events. It is designed to fund Sparkling Tuna Cup, Sea Duckling Open, and Master Swan Open as well. It is all funded via Patreon, so you can help support us there if you wish. Thank you so much, all of the current supporters. We've achieved so much through our Patreon, and we do have goals set up to grow our event even further, ideally to be able to work towards those monthly finals on a regular basis. That is the goal, at least. That is the hope. That's the dream. Help us grow it. Help us grow our tournaments. So you can do so via Patreon. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, when it comes to the news this week, we will be catching up with the Amazon Prime EWC Clem Team Liquid episode next week. We'll be catching up with that, and also the StarCraft Miniatures AMA next week as well. So there's these two big VODs, these two big tournaments that we should be able to catch up on. Otherwise, thanks for watching. A big shout out to Kuro as well. Kuro for handling the production side of things. When it comes to the CranKy Ducklings, our next cast should be tomorrow morning with Pigastar Cup. So Pigastar Cup is going to be tomorrow morning. We will be there with that. We have MSO over the weekend, Tuna Cup over the weekend, and we might schedule the Kung Fu Cup cast over the weekend or sometime next week as well for some more content. I say maybe we might cover those events just because we do also want to take things a little bit slow. It's been very intense the entire year, and we haven't really had much time off. So casting once a day feels pretty good to just slow things down and just like ease up a little bit and actually get some proper sleep, which we haven't done in a long time. So might take a little bit easy moving forward coming into December. We'll see what happens with the Kung Fu Cup. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And again, we'll see you guys tomorrow for Pigastar Cup. We'll see you guys over the weekend with our tournaments as well. Until then, Hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. See you next time.